For all of us, it's about predicting where the consumer is going and getting half of it right.
One of the things we want to do is create ads that don't suck.
Embracing change creates great possibility.
I'm Alan Hart, and this is Marketing Today.
This episode's part of a series I recorded at the Adobe Summit in Las Vegas, Nevada.
I'm Donna Tuths, and I'm the global head of Cognizant Interactive.
Well, tell me a little bit about the marketing solutions that you're driving in your role at Cognizant Interactive.
Sure. Alan, we focus is on helping our clients make the shift from marketing to experience, okay? And we liken this, marketing is really essentially about what a company would have told you about its products and services. Experience is something really different, right? It's actually who a company is, and it's how they behave towards their, not just their customers and stakeholders, but increasingly their employees. So we kind of help our clients navigate a lot of that. We focus on upfront around strategy and design. We have a huge focus on human insights in addition to the AI machine learning work that we do. We actually employ more social scientists than any other commercial employer in North America.
Wow.
So we've put a lot behind that because we believe you need humans to understand humans, and that we think that that data is still really falls short from in terms of really getting down to some of the insights we need. We have a huge practice in something in the area of content, and a lot of that we actually have brought alive on the floor here. I don't know if we'll get a chance to talk about that, but I would love to. Yeah, here. And then we actually focus on commerce, but experience commerce, so which is an emerging area, and new types of shopping, and then all the technologies and platform and innovations. We actually, because we're so focused on these experience touch points, I mean, we are helping clients bring solutions in voice, AR, VR, et cetera. So I can talk a little bit about the experience here at the summit if you're interested.
I'd like to. I'm going to get to that in a couple of questions.
Sure.
I wanted you just to help me clarify too. How is Cognizant and Cognizant Interactive? How do those two organizations work together, or how are they different? Maybe is a better way.
We have a very, very simple operating model actually at Cognizant. So a couple of years ago, we actually restructured the whole company around digital. It's kind of unusual in that regard. And we created essentially three divisions. One, Cognizant Digital Business, another Cognizant Digital Operations, and the other Systems and Technology. So Interactive actually sits in Cognizant Digital Business, but we actually leverage solutions and access talent from all around Cognizant, all around the company. So we are really sort of the experience leaders, if you will, and architects, for the company. We are quite large ourselves, though. I mean, we have now over 16,000 employees that are working around the world in Cognizant Interactive. I don't know. Just actually, we're not one for going public a lot in terms of talking about ourselves or sharing, a lot of data and things. But we did decide to actually go for our ranking at Ad Age last year, and we were ranked last May as the third largest digital agency in the world, and the largest in the U.S.
Wow!
Just to give you a sense of the scope of what we do.
Interesting. Well, why don't we talk a little bit about what's going on at the show? I know there was a recent acquisition of Mustache out of Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I walked quickly by the booth and saw people putting themselves in their own little personal movie. So tell us a little bit about that.
So we've been having a lot of fun here at the Adobe Summit. And I guess when we thought about preparing for the summit this year, we were going through sort of a lot of the kind of regular thoughts about what we would do here. And then I guess part of it was we had an inspiration, I guess, around a couple things. I mean, one, as I said, we have really been focusing on working on both sides of Adobe, which is both the Creative Cloud and the Experience Cloud. This is going to sound funny, but we thought about Shantanu's theme, and he was, we are experience makers. And we came up with this, we were kind of, yes, you're right, we just acquired Mustache. We, by the way, love content, and you look at my own background, content is very important to me. And we thought that, well, what if we created an experience, because our clients have to do that. right?
Right.
So, and why? And I thought, well, it would have some interesting things. It would force us to really interact with all of our attendees
Right.
in a way that's very transparent. You know, we talk a lot about authenticity and transparency, and no better way than to actually come into the booth and experience what it's like working with us. We wanted to highlight the importance of content. We want to highlight the importance of social media and some of those important challenges. So, yeah, we put the challenge out to invite any attendee to come and to star in their own movie trailer. You come into the booth. We talk to you about different genre. You pick something. We take you through a little questionnaire in which you share some information about yourself. A scriptwriter is actually getting that content, across the floor, and they are writing your script. You then go over, you review your script. You go to makeup and costume, and then you go into our green room, and it is a moment for your close-up. Our director takes you through the whole process, and then we actually have 6 editors behind the screen who are all working on all Adobe creative products. And they are producing your film for you to release to you. And folks have been posting them on social media, and it's really fun to see them. And we're playing them now. They're starting to actually run on the big screen out there. So it's really, I just love it because first it's so much fun to see people in the green room,
Right.
some of them running, jumping, wearing fireman outfit. But I guess it's just been wonderful to see how people have really enjoyed and are having fun. And we're having fun. And I guess, yeah, so it's kind of wild, isn't it?
It is wild. And I do like the fact that it embeds the attendee into your process.
Yes.
Which is, to your point, you said earlier, it's really hard to understand what it's like to work with a company.
Right.
But you've put the workroom right out on the booth floor.
Yes,
so
yes. We sure know, right. I mean, and as our clients have to,
Right,
quite honestly.
right.
I think that's, I also, we have people all the time, I really am focused on this experience thing,
Right.
but we have people that don't understand what it means. And now you go in there, and now you maybe begin to get what it means, right? You've now had an entire experience from the moment you checked in at the front desk to the introduction to our producer. You've been exposed to all parts, as our clients have to be exposed. So yeah, that was the idea, and it's really we're having a lot of fun with it, and I think it's actually kind of gained a lot of excitement out on the floor. So yeah.
It looked like there was a line.
Yes, there is a line. We're kind of sold out right now. However, I have to tell you though, they produced over 70 films yesterday.
Wow.
Which is really kind of crazy. And they'll, I'm sure, do at least as many again today, if not more. But by the way, if you want to go in there and star in your movie, we can get you a slot in there.
Right.
But there's a line. It's been fun.
That's good.
Oh, by the way, we are also do a raffle every year, really just to have folks complete a short survey for us, and we are giving away 2 tickets to the Emmys along with the hotel stay.
Wow.
So that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's live the entire experience and go to the Emmy Awards.
Probably won't win for your trailer though.
I have to tell you, have you seen those trailers? They're looking pretty freaking. Actually,
they do look really
Mustache,
good.
We just love John Lamott is the CEO of Mustache. He's absolutely fantastic, and we love how much he uses the word epic over and over again, and he really delivers on it. I mean, these things they're really fantastic. By the way, using all Adobe stock, it is an all Adobe event, and it's they were wonderful. They shared all of that with us, so we could bring it alive to everybody at the event.
That's great. Well, I have a couple more businessy questions for you. You're demonstrating your capability out there, at least in part. How do you see the agency of the future and its melding or working with clients and their own capabilities that they build?
Like new forms of partnership and that kinds of thing.
Like
so
that.
I think it's it's of course an astute question that you were asking.
Oh, thank you.
So I think like these partnerships are taking different forms, right? And part of it is, I can definitely see the difference in which we are working much more integrally, if you will, with our clients. And in many ways, I use a simple term that we become part of their ecosystem. I think it's a very, very, again, I've been in both the consulting business and I've been on the agency side equally. And I see this as actually beginning to be a new form of partnership where in many cases, we may actually be providing that part of the experience layer on an ongoing basis for our clients. So it suggests a very different type of partnership. The other thing I think, because you asked about the future, we talk a lot about experience, but that's kind of, it's interesting. We spend a lot of time with Forrester. We're out talking to folks all the time because we're really trying to stay and really driving as forward as we can. And, we've all kind of said, look, experiences, we're here now, but like we're almost moving past that. And I think we're moving to something that's, really more embodied in the notion of living experiences. And living experiences now get a little more complex, right? These are ones that take in data, they change, they morph, they continue to delight. At all of these touch points, they are reacting to stimuli. And we think that when we look at what our future is and how some of our clients have begun to work with us, literally we become part of their own infrastructure, providing those kinds of living experiences to the marketplace. So obviously there's a lot of technology infrastructure. There's a tremendous amount of design capability. That's actually one other interesting sort of thing that's emerged recently is around something that we call design as a service, which I wouldn't have really expected a while ago. But what's interesting is the largest companies are realizing they're not going to be good at everything, and they're not necessarily going to be able to attract the talent they want in every one of these areas, right?
Yep.
Nor manage that, know how to manage that talent properly, get the very best out of them. And so we've now actually begun to have a number of like large services that are around providing design as a service to our clients. So, 70, 80, 100, designers that are providing a key part of the experience layer at some of our large financial service clients. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So is that, when you say design as a service, is it, I'm envisioning like
it's
an
like
on-demand
It's like a capability. Yes.
Okay.
They plug in.
Okay.
And that kind of agility, it's interesting because he's looking at your background. You've been at this for a while too.
Right.
It's just really interesting just to begin to see how companies need to function. Like we had this discussion. Yesterday I talked to Sven Gergitz from Mattel. Mm-hmm. We did a panel and we were talking about how one of the things, actually, they have an IT organization which is actually really small and produces an amazing amount of work using external partners, and we are one of their key partners. But what we were both kind of thinking about was how, even 10 years ago, as few as 10 years ago, your IT department would have been based on a lot of stable technologies, right? You would have, you would have needed your ERP, you would have needed this, you would have SAP. The thing is now they're big clunky things, and now you need these agile. Look at the explosion of MarTech. Okay,
right.
We went from 500 companies to 10 to over 5,900 or something at the last, something like that. In a very short period of time, right? So you can no longer hold all of those kinds of capabilities in-house. So how do you partner with somebody that can help provide that capability to you as you need it, right?
Yep. No, it makes sense. Well, one more question, and we've hit on it a little bit with the acquisition of Mustache and what you're doing out in the booth, but with all the talk here about data, technology, process, where does the creativity factor in?
Wow. I hear that and I'm like, yes, across every one of those things, right? So that's what I think, another one of those things that's really changed, right? We used to think of that in a very binary fashion, right? That something was creative and not. And actually, we had a really interesting debate on this. I have to admit it was up at Forrester, but we were talking about, they were saying like, well, can creatives live in a technology company, right? And it was a riot because our chief creative officer was sitting across the table from him, and he was like, yes, and I love it, but it's partially because This whole area of experience is actually, first of all, you really need people that can do something called experience design. And this is very different, right? These are people that are thinking across, they're thinking across touch points. They're thinking across physical and digital. And they're thinking a lot about humans, and they have to take into consideration data. Our data folks have to think very differently and creatively about how they're going to use data, how it's going to be applied, at what points of a process or something that data can be collected. Technologists, I mean, I think our technologists are some of the most creative folks in the house, and that's why I get so excited. I honestly do get very excited about it. Like our technologists, I call them tinkerers. It's just amazing. Like I go out all the time and I see these innovations that they're working on. And it's actually one of the things that I've loved about coming to Cognizant, because it's like if you can think it, like I'm telling you, one of these guys has been back there like working on it. It's one of the reasons why we've innovated so quickly in voice technology, chatbot. But chatbots, everybody's doing it. But the voice technology and application for large-scale Alexa usage, like we have an online bank now. We brought everything into voice for them on Alexa. And actually, in the insurance field, I'll say, we just actually come up with an incredibly creative solution for some training that's using AR, VR. At first, we were using more complex headsets, but, for rollout, we're looking at potentially being able to mail out, cardboard, Google.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is all creative as far as I'm concerned, and it's so I think it's no longer the domain of the fellows that are wearing the berets and the motorcycle jackets.
And somewhat angry, right?
Yes, a little angry. A lot of facial hair.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I've got a couple of fun questions because
Okay.
I love to get to know the person that I'm talking to as much as the business side of it things. So curious if you want to share the best piece of advice you've received. Could be about life, could be about career, could be about business.
You're not going to believe this, but the best piece of advice I received, I had a funny experience. Again, I started in this business a long time ago. I was in consulting. I was actually just sharing this morning on a panel that I was sort of so clueless that I started my family 2 years into my consulting career. As I said to people, I was still like in a cubby on the floor. I hadn't even made manager. That should have been career suicide. And one of the funny parts of it was that we had one female partner, and I was desperately. She had gone out on maternity leave. She was a woman way ahead of her time. And she was out on maternity leave, and I was desperately waiting for her to come back so that I could tell her I was pregnant, because I didn't want to have to tell one of the male partners. But I could not hold out any longer. Okay. I was going to 18 weeks, and this was getting a little desperate. So I had to go into our senior partner, and I had to sit down with him and tell him that I was having a baby. And it was interesting. He said to me, I gave him my news, and he said, Donna, this is the thing that is going to most change your life. And he said, and this is the thing that you are going to have to put the very best of yourself into, and you're going to get the most out of it. And for this man to give me this advice at that moment is something I will always remember. So I am the proud mother of 3 sons, I will tell you. But I think that advice that, you can combine, in some regards, he was telling me that I would combine these things, that it was possible. At the time, by the way, a working woman still needed permission to become a mother, because there was the thought that we were not going to be very good at it. I love to point out that we've all been vindicated. The study came out last year that apparently our daughters and sons, it's a worldwide study of working mothers, actually are better off. Right. I love that. But anyway, so that's a little bit about me. But yeah,
I love it. And thanks for telling that story. I appreciate that. That's a great story for other people to listen to and hear. What's your best source of information you go to? I feel like myself bombarded by information all over the place, industry news, etc. If you only had 1 or 2 things that you could go look at, what would they be? Wow.
1 or 2 things to look at. You're going to laugh that I don't think it's possible to look at 1 or 2 things and get. I have somebody that works on my team that is one of the most extraordinary synthesizers of information. Now, I can tell you that she ingests information from every possible source. We all say, please stop it, you're probably overloading yourself, but is able to see sort of the patterns amongst so many things. And I think that actually that's really critical right now. I mean, look, fake news, everything else, right? We don't have one source to go to. Right. And what we have to do is I think we've got to be able to look across a lot of different sources. We've got to see patterns. We've got to see things emerging. So honestly, maybe the next one we'll ask her which are her favorite sources.
Definitely. And if she wants to syndicate her feed over to me, I could use some help. I could use some help. I could use some help. Last question. You're going to have a little fun with this. One thing you love and one thing you hate or dislike strongly. If you don't like the word hate, could be anything.
You know what's really funny? It's the one side and the other side of something, which is, so one of my annoying things is I am very particular about the design within my home. My home space really matters to me. I do not believe in horoscopes, but I am a Cancer, and supposedly like we are nesters and home buddies. I don't know if it applied to me, but I'm really design like home. But the design of my home and my internal space, it's what really gives me comfort and peace and allows me to sort of unwind in that. And unfortunately, so having I can be very annoying to live with because I will design everything inside the house. And then it's the same thing that can really sort of like set me off if it's like he's like
it's off a little bit.
I can't handle it. Like it has to be changed, you know. So that's that's me.
I love that. I love that. You're gonna give Marie Kondo a run for her money.
I could give her some run for her money. Let me tell you something. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Alan, so much for coming to talk.
Hi, it's Alan again. Marketing Today was created and produced by me, with writing and editing by Kevin Greeley, social media support by Megan Woods, art and graphic design by Sarah Dell. If you're new to Marketing Today, please feel free to write us a review on iTunes or your favorite listening platform. Don't forget to subscribe and tell your friends and colleagues about the show.
I love to hear from listeners, and you can contact me at marketingtodaypodcast.com. There you'll also find complete show notes with links to anything we talk about on any episode. You can also search our archives.
I'm Alan Hart, and this is Marketing Today.